Okay, let's do some review. Let's go to Virtual Library, go to Browse, and then Magazines and Journals is going to bring you into a list of databases of those magazines and journals. If you scroll down, what I've been promoting for the sake of our class is this database, Opposing Viewpoints in Context. I simply click through. If I'm searching then for my topic, I'm just going to run a search, and then the first thing I always want to do is create my references page. So let's say that I'm going to go ahead and I'm writing an essay on legalizing marijuana. So here's an article, Marijuana Can Help the Treatment of Pain. So when I first do research, the first thing I do is scan through this article and decide if it is something that I want to use. It has information in it that either in paraphrased or direct quoted can help one of my points on my essay. As these articles go down, there's further readings, which I'm going to totally ignore. But down here, there's a source citation. All I'm going to do, because the first thing I want to do is create this for my references page, is I'm going to highlight it. I'm right-clicking with my mouse so that I copy it. I then open up Word. Let's get a page of Word here. I right-click again, and I'm going to paste it. I have options of how to paste it. Okay, I could keep the formatting. I can just keep the text only. Let's even just use the first one. The only trouble with this, of course, is it is not indented properly. If it's on a reference page, it needs to be labeled References. That is in the center. All of this needs to be 12-point font. And of course, we're going to assume that the heading has been done for this essay. The page numbers have been inserted, and I have other videos that go over that. But to make this properly indented, I also can highlight it. I go to this button, the line and paragraph spacing button. It has the arrows going up and down. I want to make sure that it's double spaced. My entire document needs to be double spaced. I also can go to line spacing options here, and I could do what's called hanging the indent. I just select hanging. It automatically goes to 0.5. I OK it, and then I have it hang, the indentation hanging. Now, when I use information from this source, for example, I'm writing my paragraph above somewhere. Let's say that I have my essay above this because the references page is the last and separate page of my essay. But if I have a paragraph where I'm writing my paragraph, I'm making my points, now I use something from the article. I go to my article and I decide that I want to use some information about how California and Arizona passed medical marijuana initiatives in 1996. I could paraphrase that information. So I say something about, marijuana was passed in whatever, I use all my own words, 1996, and then I'm going to cite this source. So as I look on my references, I can see I have an author, I have a title. So I put the author's name, just his last name. And then I look for the year of that article, not the year that I got it, but the year that the article came out. That's it. So that's within the body of my paragraph. Let me give you another example here. Let's say this author did not appear. Now what do? I take the title this time, because that's the first thing that is shown there, and I put the title here instead. I clean up my punctuation. That's it. This is the information that I've taken from this article. I'm suggesting that we put it in red so that it indicates to us that we need to do this process, and that this is information that has been paraphrased, which means put in your own words, but it is based on this article that you got. So that is the process that we're going through over and over and over again. I could take things word for word. For example, I could just copy and paste this information into my document. Let me double check that. I could take this information word for word and paste it in. And when I do that, if that is the kind of information I want, I still am going to have to cite this source. And if it's like this without the author, this is my citation. And I'm just using my right click of my mouse to be able to copy and paste this information. This means, with these quotation marks around it, that this is a word for word quotation. I'm taking something word for word. I'm taking a copy paste. I have to, when I do this, I have to be able to make it as part of one of my sentences. So I have to say something like experts say, and then have this information. Okay, so that's how the internal citation, the stuff in parentheses, relates to the references page. And where I get it in Virtual Library, opposing viewpoints is at the bottom of the article. Every one of these articles in Virtual Library, opposing viewpoints, has that citation. So if I just go to a random other one. Here's another article. I go to the bottom. It's a source citation. I highlight it. I hit my right mouse button and do copy. I could also highlight it and use Control C. That copies it as well. And then Control V as in victory, that will paste. Anything like that, any method you want to use to do the copy paste of this source citation, that's fine. But if you just stick in opposing viewpoints, you can't go wrong. If you're back in the database list ever again, and you want to use something called EBSCO Coast Academic Search Elite, this is more difficult articles, but it can be used. That's fine. If you want to use LexisNexis, also very difficult articles to understand and go through, but that can be used. ProQuest can be used. This is mostly newspapers, etc. Okay, let's go, for example, in LexisNexis, and you can see the difference. Even the way it looks is more brainy. But once you're in here, this also can help you. You could also run a search here. Well, let's just take one of their searches already that they have. I just think that every database in here is more difficult to use than opposing viewpoints. Because once you get the articles then that are here, they still have to be cited and put on your references page. If you take information from these articles, they still have to have the internal citations. So you can see already we're having to search now for the specific article. It just gets more difficult. I mean, I could start hacking away at this and trying to find the exact article. Okay, so you can see, you know, I'm already in trouble with this. Let's see, academic search complete. So that was not easy, see? I have to do maybe 2 or 3 more steps to get to the article. Same with here. Okay, here's medical marijuana legalization. Search. I'm going to get lots of different articles. Okay. When I get one, at first I'll have to have full PDF text. Then I can go over here, and then here is my reference data to get copied and pasted. So I'd have to copy all of this and paste this, because this is my APA reference. Okay? And then I'd be back at that same stage of looking at the document and making sure that I use that material properly relating to my references page. Let's look at some helps here. If you are doing internal citations, that's the stuff that's in parentheses. You'll hear it being referred to as internal citations or parenthetical documentation. Parenthetical just means stuff in parentheses. There are some additional videos that you could watch on your own. These are just YouTube videos from other experts. There's lots of videos on YouTube. Some get into the full-blown APA format with cover pages and all kinds of stuff. These are simple ones to understand, so I would just stick here. And I've given you on the accompanying handout that I'll post on NGrade, I've given you some examples here. This is using a quote. So I lead into the quote. I have this quotation as part of one of my sentences. This is just that copy and paste information from the article, and you could see then the internal citation. This is showing how if you have 2 authors, you use the ampersand symbol here. And if you have page numbers, you add that as well. The second example that's given shows how you can do it more fancy. You could split up in the sentence using the author's name and the year. Everything that's in here needs to then be within the sentence. The only thing that wasn't before the quote is the page number. This is more difficult. The first one is easier. Then there's another example here with Bolter 2001. And these then would be corresponding to my references page. This is stuff within my paragraph. I should have a references page that has this article by this author and this author and this author. So how would you make internal citations for sources that are on this reference page? So if this were your reference page now, we have Fleck Carol, and then she has an article, and it was written in 1997. I would put this in my internal citation. If this were my reference page material, it's just a title. I would put it this way. So that's what I'm doing with the internal citations. So hopefully this will help some more of you out. And